All right. Thanks a lot, Andrea and Sabrina, for the introduction. And so let's go into it. In our demo today, we will go through some of the basic functionalities of wSign, our new signature platform. And we will give a first glance to the platform, focusing on the four main actions that you can see on the slide here. So first of all, we will see how to manage elements in wSign. It could be uploading new elements. It could be grouping them up in order to make it easier to manage them. So we could be, for example, grouping them up in folders, having them following a same policy for signatures and all the operations that we want to make them subject to. In such a way that basically we make the management of the same documents that we're talking about easier, quicker, and directly from the dashboard within the platform. So making basically of wSign the one-stop signature or document process management in this sense. As a second step, we will see the main actions that we expect from a signature platform, which is signing, right? And in that sense, we will see also how to sign more documents or one single document if we want, as well as requesting signatures from one or more people. This is a key feature and very important to highlight since, of course, wSign allows for internal users or external users, so registered or unregistered. We will see more about this during the demo. As the third action, we will go through the contact list, which is something that makes it easy and the management of frequent contacts, basically. This is a dedicated functionality we have in wSign, and it allows to quickly and easily fill in all the information required to share a document with the outside world. So we can prepare a signature having already all the info that we need, for example, email, phone number, and so on. Last, you might see probably a QR code on the bottom right. You might wonder what that is for. We'll check basically how to access reporting and audit information. Of course, we always make available audit data in all details, had the authorities require them for judicial purposes mostly, but we also wanted to give a simpler version as an audit report available to any owner, basically the person who starts a signature process or a document flow. And this could be available at any time. And this could be done through scanning the QR code and obtaining a report document that we will see later on during the demo. And if you're wondering where this will appear, you will see that during the demo, but spoiler alert, it would be in the signature box. So moving on, just to give you guys a guideline of the demo and the structure that it will follow and to help you orient yourself during the different actions that will take place. Even though the demo will be pretty simple, we will use 3 characters or personas that will help us simulate all the approval processes in wSign. The first one is a fictional character, although not so fictional because it myself is Carlo, which is an employee of a big organization. He works in the procurement department, and let's say that he needs approval for a big purchase ordered by his boss. His boss is the second in the list, is Alice. Alice will have to sign the order created and shared with her by Carlo for it to be valid and to make the approval effective. I guess that you can already see a difference. Allow me a short digression on this. You can see a difference between Carlo and Alice, at least in the interface that you see here in the image. It's worth mentioning here that all the users that we have in wSign will have the possibility to choose between 2 different themes. The themes are dark and light, so the one on the left and the one on the right, in the middle actually. But wSign allows for much more. So we allow for full customization of colors and logos. And this is to, of course, better fit the look and feel of the application into legacy applications that you might have, say a document management system that is internally already used, an ERP, or whatever you might think. So basically, we can create with full customization a flow and also processes that are exposed to the outside world that doesn't also look fishy in some cases. And we provide this facilitation to our customers' clients. Back to the characters, you can see the third character in the list, which is Bob, bottom right. Bob is the sales account, in this case, the sales account manager of the provider organization. And he will receive the purchase order signed by Alice, and will have to countersign the document for acceptance and confirmation of the order. Now, without further adding to the introduction and having introduced all the characters, let's move on to the interface and let's start this process. Demo process. We will start with Carlo, as I said. So here we have the login interface. Sorry, guys. There you go. Now we are on wSign's dashboard. Here you can see a full overview of the documents, and Carlo already has a lot of documents, as you can see, already uploaded on the dashboard. And let's go through them very quickly, only to highlight the difference in the icons and the icon meaning. Just in a nutshell, we have a different color code, a different icon code. Very quickly, on top of the list, we have all the documents that need to be signed by Carlo, and this is represented by a pen icon. We have documents that are pending an action from external users. So Carlo shared this document, and we will see this happening later on. We have documents or elements that are already complete in their process with a check mark, or documents that are young and just uploaded, and there are no actions performed yet on those documents. An additional mention that is worth touching here is the difference in the shape of the two elements. You can already see that here we have a document shape, here we have a folder shape, because this is actually a folder. If we click on that, we can see that it encloses more than one document. This is what we call dossier, is our concept of dossier. Basically is a group of documents that follow the same policy and will be treated using the same approval value, I would say. So basically a signature with the same value. It could be, for example, a simple signature, an OTP signature, so on and so forth. And this is to make it much easier to manage multiple documents, to share them up with the outside world, and so have an approval process going on. Let's stick to the demo though, and the process that we anticipated. So Carlo wants to upload a purchase order to share it with Alice first and then Bob second. You can see that by clicking on the plus button, I already open a dialog with two different functions. One is the dossier, you see the shape is the same, or a document. I choose if I want to create a dossier, a new dossier, and upload the documents inside of it, or if I want to upload the document. This is what I will do. Only one purchase order is enough. So I will go to my folder. I will select the document that I want to upload. And there you go. You have the purchase order uploaded here in the dashboard. And now I can start working on it. I click on the document, and the viewer opens the document that shows me all the information that is required, that I'm required to know. I can zoom in, zoom out, I can see the document better, and probably I can zoom in for you guys to see more in detail. And all the information is here about the shipment that is going to take place and that is required to be approved. Now what happens? Just a digression. Allow me to speak a little bit about the philosophy of wSign. So in the moment we created this platform, we really wanted to stick a bit to the traditional experience of a paper document. And I know still with the benefit of digitalization, of course. So as you can see, the mouse pointer is a pen. And this is basically because we have a document, then we can sign it anytime, at any point. And in this case, what we will do, we will mark up an area where the signature will be performed. Now, if I don't move on and I don't determine policies for the signature itself, this will belong to me. So I will be the signatory of this document. And I can actually do it as many times as I want. It's my responsibility, it's my document. And if I have a physical pen in my hand, well, I can use it to sign. But if I want to establish a policy for the signature itself, there are some options that can be selected here. Let's start from the top, the signature type. We have available different types of authorization to unlock, let's say, the signature, to perform the signature. One is an OTP code. You can see here the email icon, the envelope. In this case, I will receive an OTP code, a one-time password, in my email address to confirm my willingness to sign the document. If I select it, you can see that the icon changes shape. If I select the SMS, the OTP will be received via SMS. In this case, we will stick for simplicity to the simple signature. We will see an OTP signature later on anyway. Second thing that I can do, I can determine who's the signer. So by clicking on the option, I can select from my drop-down list all the contacts that I have available in wSign. And since I know that Alice will be the first, I select Alice. Confirm. Next, as I know, I want Bob to provide an additional signature for approval. And I will do basically the same. I determine where I want to put my signature. If I want to move it, I can move it because maybe I'm not happy on where it was marked up. Of course, I can always at any time make it bigger, make it smaller to really fit the document that I'm signing. I will do the same here. I will select Bob as the signer. And I know that this is Bob's email. There you go. To finish looking up at the document, I see that we have an additional signature down here. This is an optional signature, so I'm not going to require it to Alice to sign because it's still on the side of the customer. This is to join a Premier Customer initiative. Well, I'll leave it to Alice to sign. Once I'm happy with it, I move on and I click on the share or send document for signature option. Now we see here a summary of the information related to the document with the number of pages, with the date of creation. I can also select an additional option for the expiration date. So if I want the document to be signed no later than a certain date, I can select, for example, the 7th of July. Now I can also determine the security type. I said before, and we saw it, we have 3 different types of signature. Updating this option, I will update all the signatures on the document for the security level that is required in it. As said, we stick to simple signature. As an additional thing, I can write down a note. I can type down, for example, information to orient the signatories on the reason why I'm sharing this document. For example, I can say, urgent, please sign this document. I know that maybe it's a bit rude to start it with this way, but it's only for demo purposes. This document as soon as possible. Well, it's a bit, maybe a bit rude, but it's really urgent, let's say. About the recipients, I can always change the order of the signatories. As you can see now, the first one in the order would be Bob. This is his email address, but I actually want to stick to the original plan. I can always add new signatories. In this case, they won't have a signature field predetermined. Let's say that I go with generic email of user 4. I can determine also this user to be simply in carbon copy. So he or she will see at the end of the process copy of the signed document, but this person won't have access to a signature functionality. Let's say confirm, but you know what? No, I don't want it to be part of the process. So I remove it from the list. That being said, I'm ready to share. Document sent, couple of clicks, and this is already done. We can see at the bottom of the list that the document changed its status. There is an hourglass now, which means that we are waiting for an action pending from the outside. Let's move then to Alice, who's the second one in the list of signatories. Now, let's say that Alice is a very busy manager. She's always on a train, on a taxi, moving around from one office to the other, and she's always in mobility, and she has access to the full desktop application, but she'd rather use a mobile app, for a matter of convenience. We can see that Alice, this is her mobile phone, she received a notification. There is a document to be signed. If I open it, I can see in the information that I see also the notes of the sender. Urgent, please sign this document ASAP. I can open it from here, or rather, I can move to the wSign app. Now, if I move to the dashboard, in a couple of clicks, so yes, oops, something went wrong. It was open since too long, probably. Let's go on wSign. Easy login. There you go. I hope you can see it. Probably not. I stopped sharing, I guess. Okay, let's improvise here. So let's say that we log in from here. Sorry, but unfortunately I disconnected the mobile phone. So let's log in with Alice from here. There you go. Sorry for the inconvenience. And we can see that we have two documents, two elements. One is the purchase order that has been shared right now, like a few minutes ago by Carlo. And let's move also to the other team, also to show you guys how it looks like. There you go. We open the document since we want to sign it. And we see that the document is the one that we created before. There is a signature field already present here. So I can either approve the signature and sign, or, you know what, I also want to sign the optional signature. All these options, and I apologize for the inconvenience, I had to disconnect the mobile phone since it stopped working, but can always be performed also from a mobile phone, just touching the screen and removing maybe the signature field that I decided to put on with a simple button that is the one that you saw, that allows me to use the mobile much easier and quicker. Once I'm happy on where the signature field is, and of course, as we saw before, I can make it bigger, smaller, and so on and so forth, I go on and I approve the signature. That's it. So the document is already signed, nothing more to do. Alice received an email with, will receive an email with the documents all signed once the signature process is complete. But let's see, there is another element here. It's a dossier. Let's open it up. So here we have a summary prospect of the dossier itself. We have information on when it was created, the expiration date, so on, and we have also the type of signature that is required on it. In this case, it's an SMS OTP authorization, plus some notes that were dropped by the creator of the process, and some tips that can help us understand some more about the document, on how to sign the document. So once I'm convinced of it, I move on and I take a look at the documents. I can navigate through the different documents by clicking on the arrow on top. I can see that there is more than one document to be signed. They all require a signature on my side. And we can see that there are also some other options here at the bottom. Let's explore them very quickly. One is the simplest, is to move back and to wait for the signature to happen in a different time later on. Here we can reject. So with the X button, we can actually reject the signature since maybe we're not convinced about the content. We want the owner of the process to apply some changes and modify, I don't know, personal information maybe, or something else. And I can also drop a note, of course. For example, I'm sorry, but the data are wrong. Just like that. By clicking on yes, I will reject the signature of this document. The owner will receive a notification with the note, and he or she will be able to change the document. In this case, we are not going to do it, but instead we're going to actually sign the document here. As you can see, it's an SMS that we will be asked to perform, SMS OTP authorization. I dropped two signature fields. Let's see if everything is all right also with the other one. Oh, yes, it's here. So at this point, we authorize the signature. Now we'll shortly receive an OTP code. Please allow me for a second. There you go. It's 5434. 5434. There you go. And the dossier is gone. Now what we can do is to go back, and I apologize for all the change of experience here of screen. We know that the third signer in the process is our friend Bob. And here we have Bob's email. Let's take a look into it. So Bob, just as a reminder, he is the account manager in this provider organization. He received a notification email from wSign. Let's open it. And as it happened for Alice, we were able to see it for a second, maybe in the email address through the mobile phone. He received a notification about the document signature request with the notes of the sender. Same stuff. Now let's click on the link and let's see what happens. Now the app starts. Since Bob is an external user unregistered to the application, the platform, he will have to accept terms and conditions, move on with the use of the platform, and he will be able to see the document. There you go. This is the same purchase order that we saw before. And look at that. There are already two signatures and also the optional one. And there is a placeholder for the signature on where Bob will have to sign. Let's say that Bob's want to know more about the document. He clicks on the I button and he can see also the same summary information that he was able to see and access in his email. Now, all the information is correct. He's happy with the amount. So he can actually confirm. Yep, confirmed. As easy as that. And the document is signed. Now, we will be redirected as Bob to our promotional page of wSign, but of course, we can always use a different landing page. That could be the page of your organization. Why not? To make it more in line with the user experience, with the look and feel of your organization and what you expect for your customers. This is Bob's email box. He received the document here. Now, he received the purchase order, perfectly signed. And as you can see, you already saw that before. There are some QR codes here. These are all the documents, all the signature fields with the QR code that I was mentioning before. Once we scan the QR code, let's take a look at a quick preview of it without going through the mobile phone and so on to the scanning and accessing the document. We can see directly a document that I already prepared. It's a report from yesterday or a couple of days ago. This is to give you an idea on how the report looks like. So this is a document that we really want to use also to guarantee on the integrity of the process, putting our name on it and our face. It's Euronovate that certifies that the process has been done and performed correctly. And there is information about the owner, the different signatories, the type of signature that has been performed, and also some additional detail on the operations that took place with reference to the different actions. This document, signed by Euronovate. Yes?
We didn't see the report.
I'm sorry, I think I missed switching the screen. Thanks, Andrea, for pointing that out. And I apologize to the audience. Luckily, it was just a little bit. So there you go. This is what I was talking about. This is the wSign report signed by Euronovate with all the information related to us guaranteeing on the integrity of the process, information on the owner, the signatories, and so on and so forth, type of signature. And this is the detail that I was saying with the different actions. Now, this document, of course, is not accessible by everyone. And I will move back first to the original screen where we have our Carlo user. Okay. So this document, as I was saying, is not accessible to everyone, or at least it is, but in a very much reduced version, where any user that scans the QR code will have access only to the information related to the signatories and the type of signature that has been performed, as basically additional info on the validity of the document. Okay. The only one who will have access to the full information that you saw is the owner of the process. So the creator of it, that of course by default has already access to all this information. Going back here then this is Carlo's dashboard. Let's take a look at the purchase order. It changed its status. It's completed, as you saw in the icon change. And there you go. The document also here is signed by all the two actors. The document can be, of course, once complete, be downloaded by the functionality here, and I can access to a PDF document signed with all the signatures in place. So before we go to the next steps, let's say, or what it's ahead of us with the wSign, I would like to show you the last element that we dropped behind of the four elements that I wanted to show, for actions that I wanted to show in the beginning, which is the contact list. This is a pretty useful facilitation for users to have a quick access to frequent contacts. As you can see here, we already have Bob the user, or Alice Carlos boss, and we can always expand the information related to each user, having access to the email address, the phone number, and of course also some additional information in form of a note. This is something that we can drop when we create a new contact. As you can see, I filled it up with first name, last name, email address, phone number, and also some notes that can help us identify more quickly in case, for example, of names that are the same, or in the case of some doubts about the identity of some of the people that are in our contact list. I can always do this, writing a note to help me understand. I can, of course, always remove a contact, or I can change it and modify it. Last but not least, and you already saw that very quickly before as I was changing theme, we have the possibility to change colors, select a different language. Here we have English, Italian by default in this moment. We are about to publish also Spanish, Greek, and German as new languages. We can determine default signatures for myself or for other users that are about to sign, or that will be asked to sign by myself. Personal information, phone number, I can change my password, of course, so on and so forth. I can delete the users, which I hope you won't be tempted to do. Then, to close up, I would go back to the presentation to share with you guys some additional info. So, there you go. What to expect. Besides all features that you saw in the demo, we can wrap up by mentioning the most relevant news coming up. And we see what to expect basically in the near future. First off, we really have to keep in mind the role as market leader that Euronovate has when it comes down to biometric signatures, especially. We're especially talking about biometric tablets, and we know that, such as, for example, the wSign 11. And with years of experience in this field of biometric signatures, the first thing that comes to mind is enabling a signature from any device and from anywhere. With any input, or in other words, what is called omni-channel signature. So the idea could be to make wSign as the hub for all approval processes coming from any different channel. In the same vein, and thinking to other means of signature, we cannot forget signature certificates. Now, if we are already able to perform a pretty strong signature with the double factor authentication, we saw it, we can use an SMS OTP, we can use an OTP via email, and biometric signatures as well. We cannot forget digital certificates. Now, in some cases, they are nice to have. In some other cases, they're actually a compliance requirement. So, of course, for all of this, we are already working to integrate signature certificates in our platform, and among the other types, of course, of authorization that you saw already in them. Third point, and I will say the last 2 points actually that go together, I would like to highlight those features that are simple, and for simple they might be, they have a considerable impact on the UX, and might be also very, very useful in the day-by-day management of documents with legal value. So the first one is PDF editing. So basically editing your PDF document directly in the application. Let's imagine, for example, that a document got rejected. I'm the owner of the process. I receive observations and notes on how to change the document. I can do it editing directly on wSign and send it back for the approval process. And this is basically to reduce the recycles of the document, downloading it, maybe changing it, uploading it again, so on and so forth, having only one point to work all the document flow. The second one that you can see at the bottom right is template management. So it's basically managing a template with all information required to start a process and a signature process. And this would be determined by the owner by default, and he or she will always have access to this functionality to be quicker and create a process. All of these features will be we are already working on them and will be soon available, and they are part of our product roadmap and will be available soon for all of our clients. That being said, I leave the floor again to Sabrina, especially in case.
Thank you, Carlo, and thank you also, Andrea. It was really clear. We just saw the few steps that we need to complete a process. I will now ask you a few questions that we have from our participants, and also just to let you know, you will see right now in the slideshow our contacts. So Carlo Di Giulio, which is our product owner, and mine, Sabrina Letizia, for the sales part. You can scan the QR codes and just get our contacts and talk to us if you have any other questions. So let's move on to the questions. Okay, so the first one is, am I required to create a dossier if I wanted to use only the OTP out to sign?
I can take this for Andrea to coordinate. The short answer is no. And so let's try to also think about the reason why we created a dossier as a functionality, as a, let's say, a structure for as an element to collect more than one document. The idea is that a dossier is a facilitation for the owner mostly. So to create basically a process that includes more than one document, that has of course some compatible policies, to share it with someone else. At the same time, the same functionalities of signing more than one document with one authorization, as we saw actually being performed during the demo, is something that each single user can do with the documents that he or she uploaded to the platform and that are available in the dashboard. So basically the idea is to make a multi-selection of different elements and select the signature option for all of them at once. There is a small icon available for it. We didn't go through all the functionalities. I didn't want to be tedious in the explanation, but long story short, we can select multiple documents for signature. Once this happens, the experience is pretty much the same as a dossier. So we can navigate through the single documents to see each single one of them. In addition to it, we can actually remove them from multi-selection in order to make it a facilitation to the signatory in this case. As I said, the dossier is a facilitation for the owner, for the operator, let's say, that creates the process. Multi-selection is a facilitation for the signatory. Of course, we have to mention that in this case, the policy should be compatible. Of course, like if we have different documents to be signed with SMS OTP authorization and others that have to be signed with, I don't know, simple signature or an OTP via email, the authorization required would be more than one, depending on the policy and the type of authorization that is required on the documents.
Okay, thank you, Carlo. So the next questions, the report data, where are going to be saved?
So this is for me.
I'll leave it to Andre.
Yeah. So in the solution that we have just seen, we integrated an Amazon service named Quantum Ledger Database. Quantum is a fully managed ledger database that provides transparent, immutable, and verifiable transaction log. But this is just one of the options. The architecture, as I said before, is modular. So we can use whatever archiving solution to store all the logs we want, both in cloud or in premise. It's just a matter of coding a specific plugin for connecting to this database. And we have also structured this type of data so that we can also use different kinds of blockchains. Obviously, the cost in this case will depend on the provider that we want to use. The point is that blockchain, or as I said, the Amazon service, the Quantum Ledger service, is just to have something that is immutable. And this report is stored inside this kind of database.
Okay, so next questions. So they ask, I would like to integrate the application to my internal processes. However, we already use a DMS and send out documents by email. Do you offer an integration option?
Yes, I go straight for it. I think I touched base on this point during the demo, mentioning basically, well, it's part of basically having our client, our customer, or whoever wants to buy the platform already some legacy system. We want to make it more, we want to make it closer to the user experience of the organization, the user interface, look and feel, colors, and so on. And of course, we do it not only with customizing colors and logos, but also with a full integration. For this reason, we have a set of API that can be used to completely integrate to a legacy system or any other external system, such as a document management system, or it could be an ERP, it could be so on and so forth. So what we do in this case, we have available all the functionalities that are for the owner. So basically creation of a flow, creation of placing signal fields, and so on. And so basically, this would be basically the integration form. One point that I would like to mention in addition to this is that we also integrate the organization Active Directory. We give this possibility, LDAP systems, to have also the contact list to be fully integrated. So basically, we have a degree of flexibility that allows us to make a seamless user experience for the final customer or the final user.
Okay. So actually we're running out of time. So thank you all for coming. We have other questions, but we're going to send you an email and ask them directly. Also, I remember you here, you can find our contacts. If you need any further information, you can call us or just text us. Thank you for participating. We hope to see you soon, and don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn to the Euronovate Group page and the wSign page to be aligned to our next webinars in the future. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.